Now, look, I'm interested to get your thoughts, Hilary. I'm not sure if this is a popular move by Donald Trump. However, there's often a method to his madness. What's your assessment?
Well, a few things here. One of the other things he said was that Greenland's defense is two dog sleds, and that isn't actually, sadly, that far from the truth. A few items here. One thing with regard to NATO, the US really is NATO. The US has been protecting Europe and actually the whole of Western Europe, obviously the West, including this sea space and everything around Greenland, really since the Second World War. And if you said to a British taxpayer, Swedish taxpayer, Norwegian taxpayer, German taxpayer, by the way, we want you to spend 2% of your GDP protecting the US southern border, they'd all be saying, what? So the American taxpayer, Gabriella, has been funding the protection of Europe. And yes, President Trump is completely correct. They have failed to do so because the Russians there is an incursion by the Russians and actually the Chinese. Don't forget, this is about defense and it's about rare earth minerals. And those in Greenland and the Danish have actually totally and utterly failed to mine all the resources that are there. This is something that's in the interest of the West, not just the US. And one of the things I've heard, last but not least, said about President Trump, take him seriously, not literally. I think this is an opening salvo, hopefully, particularly with Speaker Johnson right now in the UK, about to speak to Parliament tomorrow. I think he's going to be very diplomatic. I don't think the US wants to lose consistent allies. And I think it's in both of the best interests to come to an agreement because our adversaries, Russia and China, they're watching this.
Yeah, no, excellent point. I have to get your thoughts on Venezuela. It was, of course, January 3 that Donald Trump announced the capture of Venezuelan dictator Nicolas Maduro following a successful overnight joint US military operation in Venezuela's capital of Caracas. And Maduro is, of course, facing charges including narco-terrorism and drug trafficking. And we saw celebrations from all over, people of Venezuela, all over the world celebrating in response to this. I want to get your thoughts. You know, so much has happened over the space of just a few weeks, but also your thoughts on Secretary of State Marco Rubio. I mean, you can really see how much trust the president has in him.
Yes, and I think that's rightfully so, Gabriella, because don't forget, Marco Rubio obviously was an immigrant from Cuba with his parents when he was very, very young. He speaks fluent Spanish. He understands the sort of this mentality, a South American mentality and culture from his family and his roots. So I think number one, he has a great affinity and understanding, but also he's somebody who really experienced socialism and communism and really understands how detrimental it is. I think he truly cares about the people there. Also, he's shown his ability to manage, his ability to run things. And I think that it's either going to make him or break him. He could do a brilliant job there, or obviously it could basically thwart his political ambitions. We must remember that Venezuela, of course, is like twice the size of California with about 30 million people, many diverse factions, and of course, all these criminal gangs and these drug narco terrorists there. So I don't think it's an easy feat at all. I think it's rather challenging. I wouldn't want to take it on in the slightest. I think it's a heavy lift for anyone, even including Marco Rubio.
And just finally, it's been 1 year since Trump was sworn in as president for the second time. Can I get your assessment, your thoughts on year one of Donald Trump?
Well, I think a few things here. I do think he spent a lot of time, rightfully so, for the world with all of the peace agreements that he's made. I think he's done a lot of good actually for the world, but the world doesn't vote for him. I actually think it's somewhat of a pity there hasn't been far more emphasis. I think all of the initial energies, all of his focus should have been on the US economy, making the US economy great again, because with the midterms coming up, Gabriella, the Republicans have such a tiny, small margin due to people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, those that have are no longer standing, retired, and or no longer in their positions. So it's such a tiny margin. If the Democrats win many seats, that will make him a lame duck president, and that will be dreadful for the world and for the US. So I think it's a pity he didn't spend more time on the affordability issues and the domestic economy. However, his approval ratings have improved. I think overall, there aren't many people that can point to failures. Those that obviously oppose him deporting, or the illegals, they should look at what Obama did. Obama was referred to as the deporter in chief, as was Clinton. Both of them deported more, Gabriella, and you never heard the left having any objection to that.
No, you're absolutely right. Hilary Fordwich, president and founder of Strelmark, thank you so much for joining us. Wonderful to speak with you again.